Hey guys, welcome back to one more day of class. Today we're gonna start working a little bit more on our 8-head cannon human figure drawing. And well, this is what we did last class, remember? It was a little bit complicated because now we were having our collarbone, we were having shoulder joints, we had our nipples, we had our crotch. So it's a little bit more detailed on how we were drawing, right? So, but we're going to continue with this 8-head figure cannon drawing. But now we're going to start working a little bit on drawing different ages in between what a human would be as small and as it grows up. So, as you can see over here, I already have them drawn because basically we're going to continue with the same things. We're going to continue with the collarbone, we're going to go with the mid-chest, belly, elbow, crotch, wrist, hands, knees, and ankles, right? So basically we're going to use the same names and the same positions to draw our human figure. But now this time we're going to work on the 8-head cannon using different proportions to draw the human body. So that's why I already have them drawn. You can follow them step by step on the tutorial to draw them. Either way, right now we're going to see how we're going to draw the adult. We're going to continue the same figure as we did in the last class. So here, as you know, one head is the proportion of our head, right? So I'm just going to draw my head right there with the marker. Then we have, almost in the middle of the second head, we have our collarbone, right? It's over here. Do that, and we have our shoulder joints right there that are basically, remember, they're basically at the same height as our collarbone, only that we do the triangle with the belly, right? So we have our belly here that's on number 3. We have our crotch over here, right? Now the belly over here goes at the same height as our elbows. I mean our elbows. So it's right over here. Our elbows are gonna go. And remember that when we have our shoulder joints, it goes right at the same level, right? At the same height as our crotch comes our wrists. So I'm just gonna do those circles over here, right there. Now, we can continue just drawing the connection of our neck right there. Then remember that you have to go a bit lower when we go from the collarbone all the way to our shoulder joints, remember? So now over here from our division over here, we just go a little bit. Remember we did a little triangle here to do the body, but we're going all the way down. And from the belly, you go a little bit wider over here, like that, right? Now, continuing at the same level as our nipples over here, you go all the way down to 6.5 to do our knees, right? And then you go a little bit down all the way to 8 and a little bit more than, let's say, 3/4 of a head to do our ankles, right? So we already have our joints to put together. So just go through with the drawing of the human body like that. So, I mean, you already have an explanation of how to draw this part on the last tutorial that we had. I'm just going by the same steps I did last time, and I'm just going to draw them. There we go. I'm just passing over with the marker after the same steps that we did. So if you have any doubts on how to draw them, you can just check the other tutorial and keep on practicing, because we're going to continue drawing the human figure with movements and everything, so it would be really nice for you guys to be practicing. There we go. There we go. So there we have our adult figure size, okay? Now, here comes a little tricky part on a young kid. You can see that there's a difference in between a head apart of a young kid, and that's why our proportions over here are going to be shorter. So you have to really have in mind having your numbers put here together. I'm just going to put them really quickly over here. I'm going to put number 1 so you don't get confused. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay? So for our young kid, what we're going to do is we're going to start in our second head. Right there. There we go. Okay, our second head. Then our collarbone and shoulders are going to be in our third head, but it's going to be really, you can divide it in 3, 1, 2, and 3. So you're going to put right over here your collarbone, and the first one that you're dividing in 3 equal sizes, okay? Equal parts. There's going to be your collarbone, and the same thing is going to happen with your shoulder joints over here. Remember that you have to go a little bit lower when you're drawing, okay? Now your belly, well, your midchest is going to be right here in the second one, okay? So you put your nipples right there. Don't forget, that's one head coming all the way over here, right? That's going to be your division of your chest. And your nipples are going to be a little bit closer, right? Then your belly comes all the way to 4.5. Right in 4, 4.5. At the same level as your shoulder joint to go all the way down to your elbows. Right there. Right, and then you have your crotch. That's going to be in, you'll divide it in 2, so it's in 5.5. Your crotch is going to be right in 5.5, right there. Okay? As the same as your wrist. Remember that your wrist, your crotch are always at the same level, your belly and your elbows, and your collarbone and your shoulders are at the same level to draw, okay? So once you have your crotch and everything, you just make your connections right over here. So you just, from your collarbone, you go a little down, like that. There you go, go a little downer. Then you, remember that when you're going on the V part, you just go a little bit narrow all the way to your belly, and then you have to open up to go with your crotch, right? Depending on if it's a man or a woman, you'll have this proportion a little bit more thicker or it'll be narrow, okay? So you can just do that. There you go. So once you have that, now you can see at the same level as your nipples, you go all the way down, and you're gonna put your 2 circles on the end of your 6, starting your 7, between 6 and 7, right there. Okay, and you go straight also all the way down until, let's say you're going to divide this into 3, so it's going to be 1, 2, and 3, right? So in your second line is going to be your ankle, just like that. Okay, so you can see over here, that's why you always have to number them up, so you know at what point in between what lines are going to be your ankles, your knees, and all your intersections for the body. So once you have that, remember that this goes straight like this. You can do it imaginary if you want with your pencil, but it'll go natural on you, right? You just go all the way down, straight line, and that's where you're going to have your intersection that's straight, right? If you want, you can do it like that. And you know that how you're always, your legs come from the middle of your crotch right there, and it'll go all the way to the connection of your knee, okay? Like that. There you go. And the same thing, it goes from wide to narrow. Goes to wide all the way to narrow. You just do your connection over here, like that. Then you're gonna do your knee to your ankle, same thing. It goes from wide to narrow, almost like a little ellipse, right? There you go. Right there. And finally, well, neck connection over here. That's easy. Now, your shoulders, the same thing. It comes from wide a little bit to narrow, always elliptical, like that. There we go. Wide to narrow. I would recommend you guys to write down where you're drawing, like where the lines go. That really helps because that's going to make your mind remember every place it has to go to where you're drawing. Okay, so I would recommend if you're going to do like mid-chest, just draw an arrow and put collar, bone, shoulder, mid-chest, belly. That way you will remember how you have to draw and where everything goes. Okay, or where it has to be related with. If you have that collarbone and shoulder go at the same length. The same thing with belly and elbow. That way you memorize a little bit. It'll make your drawing a little bit more mechanical. So, we already have our adult, we have our young kid. Now, I'm just going to put this like this because now we're going to go on with our next age. That will be little kids and then finally toddlers. Okay, so for little kids, we're going to start up. You have to draw also your lines, also have your 8 heads. This time we're going to start with going on our 4th head. Over here with the young kid, we started up at 2. Now with our little kid, we're going to start at 4. See, I already drew my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cannon and my other 8 cannons over here. Okay, so now we're gonna start with our little kid that starts in our 4th head, going from number 1 all the way to 4. So we're gonna draw our head in number 4. Now you can see the proportions of the human body start like changing a little bit. Over here you can see like really slim fit, and then you're gonna see as little as our human becomes, the figure is like a little bit more shorter and a little bit more thicker, right? So that's how we are. Usually when we're little, our heads are bigger. As we go along with years, our body starts to like slim up and grow, and our head almost stays the same size. Okay, so that's why we have our relationship of our drawings based on our head, because our head doesn't change that much, doesn't grow that much as our body goes taller. So as I was saying, we're going to start with number 4. We have our head. We're going to do now, I'm going to just put this a little outside. We're going to start our collarbone right at the, also the same thing with number 5. We're going to divide in 3, 1, 2, and 3. Our collarbone is going to be right in the first division in our number 5, like that. Also, our shoulder joints are going to be right there. Okay? Now, you can just connect that if you want. You're going to start getting better at it. Okay, so, and you can do also your neck. There we go. Now, our belly. Our belly is going to be, also we're going to divide this into 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do it in the first division over here. There we have our belly. And our crotch is going to be finishing 6 and starting 7 right there. So our crotch is smaller now this time because we're smaller. It's a small kid. Okay? So there we go. Now, comparing to a young kid or an adult, our figure is not that slim. You can have the curve over here, but in a kid, we have this straight, so our lines are going to be straight over here. There's not much of a division here. So in between our wrist, our belly and our crotch, it's almost the same level. So you're going to draw this straight like that. Okay? Now, The same thing. When we have our heads, that's the division over here. Our nipples are going to be a little bit closer, right? So going over there, you go all the way down. I'm just going to grab my pencil really quickly. We grab our pencil and you can just do our straight line to intersect our knees all the way down if you want, okay? So we have our lines. Now, finishing 7 is going to be our knees. Where our knees are going to be right there. We do our little circles. Now, you can see over here, I did flat ovals over here and I have circles over here. That's why I was saying, when you're big, you start slimming up, you start growing and you get taller and thinner. While a kid has them flatter, so that's why I'm doing ovals instead of circles, okay? And the same thing, almost finishing up on 8 are my ankles, right there. Okay, so I have that right in the intersection of 6, also where my belly is, I'm going to do my elbows right there. Also, they're oval, they're not circle. And at a little bit higher, see over here when the kid, it just changes a little bit. For my crotch, I'm going to go a little bit higher, just a little tad, right there. And there is where my wrists are going to be, okay? So, as I said also here, also there's a difference. Over here I told you always to be from wide to thin, right, like an oval. In a kid's drawing, basically it's almost straight. There's not much of a difference in between their extensions of shoulder and elbow and wrist, because they didn't develop yet. They haven't grown or they haven't defined their muscles yet, so they're almost straight, okay? So that's why I'm doing almost straight lines here. Okay, I'm just going to do their hand like that. There you go. And the hands are not as long. Usually when you start growing, that's where your hands start getting longer, your fingers and everything. Meanwhile, when you have a little kid, their fingers are really short, their hand's a little ball, right? It's really small. Okay, so there we go with our hands. Also from the crotch, you go all the way to the knee. So you don't have that much of a definition in your legs either. They're just straight, right there. And from your knee to your ankle, also it's almost straight. There we go. And finally your feet. Okay, so that's a little kid that probably is a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, sort of. Now we're going to do our toddler. Toddlers have thicker bodies, even more than a little kid, right? But we have the same size of head. So we're just going to round this up like this, our head. There we go. Also, our collarbone goes, we divide this in 3, 1, 2, 3. There's where our collarbone is going to be. I'm just going to do this little circle like this. Right there. Oops, I just moved this up a little. Okay, there. Shoulder joints, the same thing. You just go a little bit lower, like that. Also flat. You can connect that like that. There we go. Now, our belly comes to number 6. So you always have your numbers. I know I'm repeating this a lot, but it's easy for you to follow the drawings like this. Okay, so your belly is there, your nipples, your head is here, shoulders, nipples are going to be a little bit closer. There you go. Okay, our crotch is going to be, we're going to divide this in half. Okay, 7, right there, a little bit lower than your half. This is where your crotch is going to be, right there. Okay, and as I said, the kid's body is straight. It's not defined. So you go all the way down, like that. There we go. Now belly also with elbow, flat, flat. Wrist with crotch, we go back to the same. Now you can connect straight also because babies don't have any muscle defined yet. They're actually pretty chubby. There we go. Like that. Our knee is going to be in 8.5, in half of 8 heads. There we go. Ankles are going to be a little bit higher. Right there. And from crotch all the way to our knees. There we go. And finally our feet. And our neck. Okay, so guys, that's basically how we're gonna start drawing and practicing a little bit on how we have to So guys, this is the way we're gonna start working from now on. We're gonna have we're going to start drawing with our base of 8 head cannon, in which we're going to start working with adults, young kids, little kids, and toddlers. Also start practicing drawing them, because as much as you practice, it's going to be more natural for you to draw it, and it's going to be much easier. Also, remember where your joints are, because shoulders, elbows, wrists, knees, and ankles are basic when you start drawing on movements for a human. That way you know how you have to move them around, where it comes from, and the proportions that you have to use. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I know it's a long project, but it's also fun to do it. So I hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to see your work in platform. So as soon as you're done, please post it in. I miss you guys so much. Hugs and kisses for everybody. Bye-bye for now.